Okay. I'm gonna need a breathe on this one because this is the matchup that I wasn't expecting to happen. Welcome back to LCS Challengers presented by Subway. We have just finished a 2-0 with AoE taking down Wildcard, and now we're moving on to our next match of the day, which is going to be Supernova versus Maryville University, our number 2 seed versus our number 3 seed. A rivalry that's kind of been classic within the scene for so long. Back in the Tier 3 days of 21, 22, we called this the heart of amateur versus the kings of collegiate. Again, we're back here. Hello, old friend. We meet again. Maryville versus Supernova.
And yeah, this is the matchup that nobody could have predicted. Maybe later on in the upper bracket, sure, man. Totally fine. I can respect the vision. If you told me MU and SN would lose their first match, both of them, in the first round, I'd say you're crazy. I'd say you're full of it and you don't know what you're talking about. But it's what ended up happening regardless. And now, after a surprising split from both of them, Eric, one of them is about to go 0-2.
And this is the crazy thing to think about, Beatdown. Look at Supernova being the 3rd seed. They were the only team to take down FlyQuest. Look at Maryville. They were 1 win away from securing first for themselves. So that is how tight the regular season was for both of these squads. And now, as we finish up the bans, we're ready to get into the first picks of the game. A lot of focus towards pretty much the standard champs we expect. Maryville goes straight for that Varus.
I think I want to quickly point out that Talia is some pretty big respect over to UG and Spyrax. MU, one of the few teams willing to flex the champion. And for the first time in a little bit, Senna has made it through that first draft and the first pick as well. So Supernova instantly locks Senna Nautilus.
The response for Maryville is the hover over towards the Renata. The current moment. That would bring a lot of crowd control to the map, a lot of zone control to the map if they do look to lock that in alongside the Varus. Would make it for a very aggressive lane, and that's the exact approach that Maryville are going to go for.
Wow, they're just going to, no hesitation, lock in the Ahri for Spyrax as well. I really like this pick here. Shoji has certainly played it before, even in his time with Cincinnati Fear, and I think we saw this answer at LCS yesterday. And as far as this matchup goes, it is really safe. And honestly, the same can be said about Annie as well. And you do have that guaranteed play with her passive stun. So I'm wondering if Vi gets through the second rotation, because I feel like either one of these teams would really like that champ.
Beat, you seemed rather chill on the Annie getting locked in. Can you break that down for me?
I mean, it's popped up in priority a little bit. We're seeing a couple of mid laners play it lately.
Okay.
I'm not too surprised to see this one, especially Shochi. I know he's played it as well.
Yeah.
So again, you have great setup with the stun that you can get from Tibbers, from her W, stun multiple targets. And again, I'm actually wondering, because Supernova are going to get that pick on 4, if they're going to leave the Vi up and force Maryville to ban it. Otherwise, they'll take it.
Yeah, you always got to lock and appreciate you got to appreciate the lockdown that comes from an Annie. Because it's very sudden, it's very snappy. It's can be point and click if you wanted to, using it on the queue, but most of the time you will be popping it on that big Tibbers team fight. As we get into the second phase of bans, Supernova are going to look to take away some of the more aggressive junglers in terms of Xin, as well as the Rumble getting taken away from Niles. And now the Gragas ban. One more ban to come out from this squad. So far, I do like the lockdown that Supernova have brought. Olaf is that final ban.
Yeah, some big respect paid over to Faisal on the top side. 2 champs he's done a lot of work with for the moment. Now, we're going to see the verdict there from Supernova. Are they going to take Vi for themselves? Are they going to let that one go over to Yuji on the side of Maryville? Do they have another answer in mind?
Right now, it's the hover, and we'll see what the jungle is going to be. Kenvi is excellent on the Lee Sin, which is going to put a lot of early game pressure onto this map that Maryville are going to have to respect.
Yeah, that really strong early game. You have that ability to get some good CC on someone like the Varus. So if you get a good kick flash, if you get a ward hop kick, something along those lines, it's just that perfect setup there with the Annie, with the Nautilus. So a carry, even Ahri, someone as mobile as her, is under so much threat too.
Yeah. And again, it is Kenvi's Lee Sin. He's very capable at this champion and applying pressure onto the map. And it does provide, I look again towards the mid-jungle duo, an interesting combination of crowd control and damage that can really roam around this map. Next lock-in coming out from Maryville University. They will go for the Aatrox in the top side. And now getting something pretty brutal on the engage. We got the Rel from the jungle.
Yeah, so I like this one as well. I think she's a really good frontliner, which I think was a little lacking on the side of Maryville, and her all-in is so good, you can pair up that Magna Storm really nicely with that hostile takeover, ensure that you're going to hit multiple targets. So I think that's going to end up being a really nice setup.
So we kind of see the game plan from Supernova. You don't really have the truest of front lines. Nautilus on the support role will be rather squishy, but it does show you that they're going for skirmish, they're going to fight. I expect to see this, especially around the mid game. You can also play towards the side lanes with Jax.
Yeah, and remember, this is farming Nautilus because he's laned with Senna, so he actually will end up being very tanky, especially paired up with that support item. So I think you have a pretty solid front line with just Diamond alone. I like the shout over to Faisal's Jax. I think it's a pretty solid pick. You have some good threaten onto the back line of Maryville, and I think you have a pretty good chance of fighting in the side lane as well, which is probably what's going to happen between him and Niles.
I expect this to be a rather bloodthirsty game, to be honest, especially with the way we're looking for our objectives. We're looking to fight. These windows that we're looking to fight in, they don't come late. We start fighting pretty early with these team compositions beat down.
A little bit. I think Senna, even though she needs some time to scale, build stacks, and things like that, you have a pretty skirmish-heavy topside. Again, Shoji locking into Annie, something we've seen pop up a little more lately. There's going to be that opportunity to help set up quick kills with her stun.
Let us know, Twitch chat, who got this one? MU for Maryville University or SN for Supernova? Now, as we talk about the regular season real quick, one more glimpse into it. It was Supernova who, as we said, took down FlyQuest, but Maryville was able to take down Supernova in the regular season. So having the advantage, at least in that front, and also Maryville seemed like the more complete dominant team throughout the regular season. They had so many games that ended with 10K plus gold leads very early on.
Right, towards the end of the split, Maryville had that average gold lead of about 2,000 gold at 15 minutes. It was so much higher than anybody else, even FlyQuest Challengers, by a significant margin as well, because the last time I checked, they were below 1,000. This is a very aggressive team. Yeah. When they have a lead, it's very rare that they end up letting go of it. The only time that's happened is against FlyQuest, their only loss in spring.
And a lot of it comes from the way that Maryville does play. Oftentimes, you'll see Niles just leave his lane. He's happy to sack it to try and have an impact somewhere else on the map, whether it be the bot lane or mid lane, to get someone else ahead. And that definitely does have good benefits for Maryville in the way they actually execute these game plans.
Right now, we're having opposite starts from both of these junglers. Kenby will end up on that top side of the map. UG on the bottom. Curious to see if UG will try and make a play, because of course having this double range bot, you can see Scary Jerry and Zyko have the pressure, and looking like they're trying to get some pressure on Array and Diamond so that they can get a big wave crashed on the turret.
Both teams have really brought their fan bases, by the way. I see we're 50-50 currently.
That's crazy.
It was moving up and down, so I believe that's an accurate vote. I would hope so. But both of the teams, I mean, are popular to their own regard. Maryville has been in the collegiate space for so long, man, and been one of the juggernauts of the collegiate space. And Supernova, of course, the tier 3 scene, as of last year, I believe it was, getting into the tier 2 space. And now having a roster that really looks like they deserve it with this team that they've been able to build in the preseason.
Yeah, I think that addition of UG and Spirax is... Oh, hold on.
Oh, here we go. Gang coming out. Kenby so quick with it, man. And Spirax is victim to the first blood of Kenby.
And again, that's just the setup that we talked about with the Annie. It's so easy. It's so hard to respond to. It did cost Kenby and Shoji both their flashes, but some early gold onto this Lee Sin is so very nice. Faisal's taking this opportunity with that knowledge that his jungler is going to be moving towards his top side to do a little bit of dirty farming.
Look at this. That's the thing with Annie. You can usually buffer the stun in very interesting ways. Keeping just 2 procs there means you can use a shield plus your E or Q. Either one is going to stun, and that sets it up for Kenby to land a very, very easy Sonic Wave Resonating Strike. As we head back into the game, though, look at Faisal right now.
Yeah.
He's getting some proxy farming going.
He is. He's just making sure that Niles stays under his turret, and it's kind of to your point earlier too, Eric, where Niles, he takes whatever opportunities he can to get a wave in, use some time, use his tempo to move around the map, assist other members of his team, but keeping him stuck under his turret, that means he can't do anything of the sort.
You see Yuji trying to roam out towards the mid lane. The thing about Shochi making that play is you had to use Flash to get the stun on Spyrax.
Yeah.
So Yuji's going to be well aware that this Annie is on the immobile side, and it's a point that you can play around to try and get a kill back for Spyrax.
Yeah, the angle isn't there yet, but it's true. Shochi will be a little more vulnerable in the next couple of minutes. We'll see if Yuji is actually going to capitalize on that. So far, no gank, no dive attempt onto that bot side either. Really no response from Maryville in these early minutes. The next possible objective we could see come through is those grubs. Yuji's already back. He spent some of his gold, and those grubs will be up in about 20 seconds. Rel does them very quickly. There could be an opportunity.
Yuji is on that side of the map. The only problem is there's so much vision for Kenvi to spot that out. And even though he might not want to take the fight outright, actually, I thought almost found another stun on Spyrax. Even though he doesn't want to take the fight outright, still being able to deny at least one grub is always a good strategy because you can just do it in your stride.
And I like the move from Kenvi to help Shochi push that mid wave a little bit, just so that Shochi can get it in first, get the move, and you can see it. Yuji has already just moved straight towards this bottom side. He just wants to get the Drake in trade.
So not going to contest with Kenvi. Instead, neutral objective. It's at the time that we have the Senna getting out from lane and rotating over to the Void Grubs. So this will provide some control over from Maryville University to secure this without much issue.
And it feels really good as Senna too. You get a handful of souls. I just saw him pick up 4 right off the bat. And now he can go do what we've seen Senna do for quite a while. Help topside.
Yeah,
that's
run
normal,
over
guys.
to Niles. Niles forced to burn his flash in Array. Able to get a summoner out on a top lane roam.
His flash and his ult, no less. So now we're going to see Array spend time on topside, as we've seen Senna's do. Try and help get these waves in, force Niles to farm under turret, pressure him, and also secure some plate gold for Supernova.
It's all right. Diamond doesn't mind this too much. He's supposed to be farming anyway.
He'll be fine.
As now the push comes in, looking to try and grab a plate for Faisal. Don't expect a dive to come out. Kenvi's on the opposite side of the map. Right now, it's just about, securing more gold and getting the Senna as well as Jax going.
It's being annoying, too. You're making Niles miss CS as a result. You don't want to you don't want to lose too much health to this 2v1 in case Kenvi is on that side of the map, because they don't actually have that information. That's why you're seeing Zyko. They're pinging on this top side, and he is roaming up to cover his top laner.
Zyko just wants to alleviate the pressure that's been all over Niles for the first couple of minutes of this game. But now that Array has made the recall, Zyko can at least roam elsewhere. And again, that flash is down from Shochi. Shochi is going to burn the Tibbers right on the Spyrax to harass.
Yeah, just get the health trade, and it's going to help clear the wave from a distance, because remember, Shochi is still flashless.
Oh boy. Go, Yuji shows up, tries to chase down Faisal, but with the good old ward hop, Faisal's going to be okay, and Array shows up towards this top side once again.
Yeah, and that's what's going to happen, but Scary Jerry.
Scary Jerry's in the wrong place at the wrong time, but the Sonic Wave missing.
My eyes are closed!
That hurt to watch. Poor Kenvi. Gonna have that one go wide. Now gets pushed right back in. Tries to turn it onto Scary Cherry. In the meanwhile, Charm lands onto Shochi, who's trying to get away from this position in the mid lane, but getting chased down by Spyrax. Now Diamond has to escape as Scary Cherry goes for the chase. Fortunately for Diamond, there is no chain of corruption. Scary Cherry just level 5. Maryville gonna get a kill in the mid lane.
Oh boy, Eric. That really should have been a 1-for-1 across the board there, but instead Maryville get a 1 for free. Which you're kicking yourself a little bit if you are Supernova. We're going to get a replay of the mid lane play. Shochi, again, still flashless, just a little longer. So that charm from Spyrax on top of the ult guarantees the kill.
I don't think Shochi was expecting it that much, considering Spyrax didn't have that much mana. It seemed like a play where you're looking to push the wave and then take the recall, but still showing up nonetheless. Yuji does find that kill on Shochi and finally gets to capitalize on that burnt flash.
And we go back to top side. Niles just having a miserable experience in a constant 2v1, and it feels like there isn't a response. You saw a play still being made by Diamond with Kenvy's help bot side, so now Zyko has to show up to try and match, just to give Niles some breathing room. There's no actual play.
Spyrax walks out of lane, does get some information on where Kenvy is, and that's always crucial in these early stages, especially going against Lee Sin. Lee Sin can be very hard to track. On top of that, his damage in the early game is quite significant. So still keeping the pings onto the Lee Sin while Maryville set up for plays of their own.
And right now, there isn't very much to play for. Diamond gets a wave in bot side, is able to drop a ward, and everyone's just going to go back to farming. Supernova, they have this very slight gold lead. And, oh, hold on. Shochi.
Charm lands onto Shochi once again. Out of position. Now returns fire with Tibbers dropped onto Zyko, and Kenvy follows through with the resonating strike. Now the stun onto Spyrax. It's enough damage done for Supernova.
And it's a great setup for them to get the next 3 grubs. Kenvy already got the first rotation, and he is very close to getting our second grub-ageddon of the day.
I love that. That's going to stick.
Yeah, I'm keeping it. That's good.
Greatness right now in Faisal. Counter-strike onto Niles. Niles looking to escape. He does not have flash. He does have the World Ender close enough to the tower where he doesn't need to utilize that. And now Kenvy starting up the Void Grubs. Yuji's in the area. Sonic Wave. No follow-through, so not looking for the fight just yet, Supernova. You've already secured one. You gotta watch out for that charm of Spyrax. It lands right onto Kenvy. Kenvy falls to about 300 health, but here comes Faisal leading the charge for the team. Puts out the counter-strike, looking for the stun. Already one picked up by Array. Array Senna is able to grab that kill, and Supernova take a kill lead.
They're really nicely kited out, and Supernova, they will secure themselves the 6 grubs. It looked like it was a little difficult for them with the numbers disadvantage, but they walked it out really nicely. Bought enough time for Shoti to show up and even the odds out. So more souls for Array, 6 Void Grubs for Supernova, and their gold lead is up to 2,000.
And their shenanigans are still up to no good. Faisal just hides in the fog of war. You're going to get the snare onto Niles, but with Zyko being there, Niles will be safe. But Array is no longer a bot laner. He's duoing top.
That's right. And you really do need to help out this Aatrox, otherwise this game will just become so much harder for Niles to actually participate in. So it makes sense. It does mean Scary Jerry is a little vulnerable if Kenvy shows his face towards the bottom side, but I guess after how that first one played out, maybe they don't want to try that one again.
Envy is headed towards this bottom side. Both junglers are going to meet, and they have vision of each other, so nothing too wild going on here. Say this bot side, we've kind of gone somewhat Australian here as we just have solo laners, and
I know
one of those is a solo Nautilus, which feels very, very weird, man.
It's really interesting because for the most part we talk about top lane being the island, but when Senna's in the game, I mean, just so many rules get broken, Eric. Who's farming? Who's laning where? It's just these things happen, man.
Maryville University going to continue to stack dragons as they continue to match these odd lanes that Supernova are throwing at them. That's the second Drake now. We'll have an Infernal map, so within 5 minutes, Maryville will be looking to secure a Dragon Soul point onto their favor. Not Dragon Soul just yet. Now going forward, Yuji Spyrax looking for Kenvy and Diamond. Over the wall is Scary Jerry. The chain of corruptions will lock down Kenvy. Diamond forced to flee, but he's getting chased down by Spyrax. Shochi's in the area, has a stun procced, so they'll defend Diamond, but you could not defend Kenvy.
Wow, and it's just been it's been good move after good move for Spyrax. Even though they're not always working out, him showing up there guarantees that kill and a little bit of gold onto the side of Maryville University. It's got to feel really nice on top of this potential Dragon Soul. Infernal Soul, really nice for Maryville, who has a lot of burst damage on their side. So if they're able to secure Dragons 3 and 4, that's a huge win con for this team.
13 minutes into this. This is a 1K lead for Supernova thus far. Tower plates will be falling in the next 45 seconds. And taking a look at the recipients of some of the early gold that we've gotten so far, so much of that is going over to Spyrax, who has been pretty on point with some of these roams, and of course catching out Shochi in the mid lane earlier. But if you look, it is getting matched somewhat by Kenvy. He has a 1k lead against the Rel. That's going to work really well for this early game. But again, the worry is as this gets later, it's not going to matter as much. The Lee Sin starts to fall off, and Yuji's Rel will become that tank front line.
Right. Kenby will always have that opportunity for some kind of kick set up with Shochi's stun, whether it's Tibbers or one of his abilities for the passive stun. But yeah, it's true. Yuji, especially with the build path that we're seeing tank junglers go for these days, things like the Locket, things like the Knight's Vow that Yuji already has, you're just going to be offering so much more in terms of frontline and utility for your team.
Setup from Supernova on this top side. Again, with the duo lane that will not stop haunting Niles and forcing Zyko up here. It provides a lot of control for the Rift Herald and the Void Grubs that they've been playing around, and we'll see how much they're able to cash in on this, as Rift Herald will get picked up. All the meanwhile, Spyrax will grab a brick of his own in the bot lane.
Yeah, I was going to say I really like that response. Yuji and Spyrax shifting down to the bot side just because they know that they can't actually scrap for this Herald. They end up taking first brick, which is a big amount of gold. But now he has to come mid immediately because this mid-tier 1, that's the next play.
Kenby crashes in, and Lee Sin's never worried when you have the safeguard. Look at all the grubbies now coming out. Was it Grubageddon? Did we get 6?
It was Grubageddon, yes.
It's Grubageddon, yes. Okay, so Grubageddon, as every time we crash, every time we start attacking these towers, you can see how much it adds up. Faisal now taking a brick over on that top side while Maryville set up in the mid.
Yeah, I mean, we got to talk about how much respect Niles had to pay as well. As soon as he recognized he might be jumped on, he popped the World Ender and just left. Didn't even want to waste any time, take any risks to ensure that, one, his team had the space mid lane, take this turret, and that he doesn't die.
You know, it's kind of a fun strategy, though. It was mentioned a little bit earlier that a play that Maryville like to go for is Niles goes out into other lanes, sacks his wave, and sets up his other lanes for success. Why not just beat up Niles and stop him from doing that in the first place?
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier, too. And it's been fine. I think Maryville have had some really good responses, though, and it's gotten them that tower lead that we're seeing right now. And it's why this gold lead from Supernova isn't actually that big yet. We're seeing one item spikes come through for pretty much across the board. Niles is really the only one who's lagging behind. So as far as power goes, the teams are pretty much on even footing right now, especially considering that you're waiting for a second item to come through before Array is really feeling himself.
Dragon spawns in the next minute, so we are starting to get those resets. Array did just take his, now returning to the map. Getting some control over the bot side is what Supernova want to do, because this will give them that Dragon Soul point that they would be liking to contest for. The faster you get these fights going, the more Kenby can really show off in a lot of these. With 30 seconds left, it's the inside track to Supernova.
Sort of. You see the vision there for Maryville, so they are going to have a lot of information. Now Zyko is setting up some vision on that tri-brush as well, trying to cover the flank. Now, though, Supernova do have that aggressive... Oh, wow.
Ooh, Zyko was quick on the flash. Very responsive right there, so Shochi's going to land a Tibbers onto nothing. And that's one of those big engaged tools of Supernova down.
Yeah, the hostile takeover is coming back, and that's why you see Supernova not actually pulling the trigger on the Drake. They don't do it very fast, Eric. So just trying to 100-0 it isn't ideal. In fact, they've given MU first touch.
All right, Diamond comes in with the hook, is
nice
able
kick.
to find it onto Yuji. Still going in is Faisal. The bailout is used, but Kenby will not allow him to be bailed out. Shochi runs low, has to back out. Niles flashes on top of him and smashes the Annie. Faisal with the counter strike. He can't last much longer against Niles, as Niles will chip him down.
He's gonna get another
kill, but Niles against the world. Array and Kenby have to get away from the World Ender, as Niles clutches it out to make it not a complete disaster for Maryville.
Yeah, the unfortunate part is that he wasn't enough to actually secure the Drake, but we'll see this one happen again immediately. You can see it again. Maryville have the first track. They want to take the jungler out before anybody else, and it was honestly really nicely done because they get Yuji, they get Scary Jerry immediately off the bat, but this is Niles who reached that one item and is continuously resetting his ultimate. So all that damage Supernova took in this fight, it started to add up because Niles was in a position to last hit.
And it feels so bad considering the game plan of Supernova. They focused onto that top side so hard. Now you have Niles with 3 kills who's chasing down your Annie and cleaving her in half.
Oh boy. And after everything Niles experienced in this top lane in the early minutes, having to lane against Senna and Jax, being able to pick up these 4 kills is such a big deal, because now this Aatrox is a problem, Eric.
This is pure catharsis right now for Niles, man. All that suffering he went through, he's bringing it back tenfold. Spyrax doesn't land the charm, so Diamond will be able to get away. But you can see the impact that Niles is having. As now, over in the bottom lane, Kenvy's got to be careful. Almost gets caught out by the charm. You can see Spyrax just being a menace on this map.
Yeah, he's been all over the place. He's reached that second item really strong with that Horizon focus. And is definitely someone to be keeping your eye on for the rest of this series, alongside Niles, of course, who's very powerful right now on this Aatrox. Surprised? Actually, I need to hold that thought. Goodbye, Diamond.
Yeah, there's nowhere for you to go. The Diamond that's been mined out by Niles, and
oh my god,
it's at 5 kills now for what was a struggle of an early game. Yes, this Aatrox is the boogeyman. He
might be the guy you send to kill the boogeyman, because this gold lead that Supernova have gotten for themselves is down to 300 gold. So much of that is because of Niles. So the small, tiny silver lining of that is the idea that, oh my god, I knew he was sitting on a bunch of gold. He's sitting on 3K.
Jeez.
And he spent all of it. There it is.
Don't attack John Wick's dog, and you don't camp Niles' top lane.
Apparently.
5-0-0, big cash, and 2 items now completed beatdown.
He's just propelled himself ahead of everyone else on the Rift. And again, he is going to be a problem in this game. He's going to be someone that I don't think Supernova have the burst damage to actually deal with. Your first combo from Faisal, Kenvi, and Shochi is not going to kill a 2-item Aatrox with Steric's Gauge. Like, that's not going to work. And Senna's damage is a little more slow. It's over time. Aatrox is not going to give you that time. So that small bright side I was alluding to earlier is at least Supernova, whenever Niles is on the map, make a play somewhere else. It could still work.
I mean, okay, bare minimum, we do have an Oblivion Orb, so we're trying to heal cut the Aatrox, but I'm coping right now. Now, here comes Diamond. He will get a hook onto Niles, but I'm not sure if they can take him down in time. Steric's Gauge goes off, and you can see that healing that's coming out from Niles.
God!
My word, you cannot stop this, man! 2 go down is Scary Jerry picking up the kills. They want Shochi as well, and Maryville University. They absolutely dismantle Supernova.
And you give Maryville an inch, they are going to take a mile. It's going to be a 21-minute Baron and not a response to be found from Supernova. They have taken control of Game 1.
Maryville University, the Kings in the north, will send Supernova south of heaven. And with that, they grab the big purple worm. Baron belongs to them, 2.6k lead, and they're playing this map beautifully.
And we know what they do with gold leads, Eric. They usually win the game, and you're going to see it again. They threw everything at the kitchen sink and at this Aatrox. And Niles, okay, watching this guy get healing from Sundered Sky, this item's not okay, man. That's all I need to say on that. It's just, unless your first combo kills him, he's full health, by the way.
He's full health.
Unless your first combo kills his Aatrox, I don't care. You lose the fight.
And all the credit in the world to Niles, man, because he has been taking a lot of initiative for this team, not just in this game, as you can clearly see right now, but leading a lot of the VOD reviews, leading a lot of the Scrim reviews.
Right.
Right now, they don't really have a dedicated coach, per se, since Tej had graduated, so Niles has taken quite a bit of those reins, and now he's showing it off, you know, both in and out of the Rift. You gotta love it from Niles.
Yeah, and it's funny to think that they weren't sure he was actually going to be able to play for this roster. They weren't sure if he was going to continue to attend Maryville University. Honestly, a lot of this roster was up in the air for all of us up until basically their first match of Spring Split. And now
we found out what the roster was.
Yeah, right? Then we found out Niles was staying. We found out UG Spyrax were joining. And it was just the beginning of what was a pretty great split for this team. Again, losing only 2 FlyQuest challengers. The team that almost went undefeated until they met Supernova. And the fact that this Maryville roster, again, lost their first series, it just makes it that much more astonishing that we have this matchup in our first lower bracket matches, Eric.
Maryville looking absolutely immaculate right now. As they focus onto the Dragon, that will give them Dragon Soul point. Could have been Dragon Soul, but Supernova were able to secure a Dragon for themselves earlier. But now that lead is definitely growing, and it's something Supernova are going to have to take a very, very close watch to. What do you have left in this tank? There are some great engage tools for Supernova. If Shochi can find the perfect angle on the right target, it could give you some leverage towards this fight, but you need to absolutely delete someone fast before Niles gets onto you.
I'm telling you, Niles can't be in these fights anymore if you want to win them as Supernova. You are in such a difficult position because you're waiting for Shochi to get that second item. You're waiting for another item to come through on Array, and even then, while all that is happening, guys, Niles is building items too. It's not like he's standing around waiting for you to reach these power spikes. Like, he is still continuing the pace that he has set on top of these 5 kills he's gotten for himself. So this game now, any fight Niles is at, Maryville are going to win. No question.
2019, the memes were Niles can end. 2024, the meme is Niles will end. So right now, 5-0-3. This dude is an absolute beast, and he's in the side lane pushing the bot lane for Maryville University at the moment as Supernova try and respond to the siege. Maryville dancing between the mid and the top.
Right, you can see trying to get some pressure onto this top tier 1. While Niles is applying so much pressure on the other side of the map. And you can see it. Supernova ignore that lane until the wave hits the turret. They're still ignoring it until now Faisal is there to get it. Oh!
Here we go. Pick on to Spyrax. The Timbers comes down, and it's swift. It was exactly what Supernova needed.
That's right, and this is their way into it again. Plays where the Aatrox isn't. Niles isn't there,
yes.
So if they give you an opportunity, you take it instantly, no questions asked. The question is, but the problem that they're running into is this Dragon coming up in 3 minutes. Can you actually replicate this play around that time? Because this is Maryville's soul, and that's basically all they need to guarantee this game 1.
For Supernova, if we can see more of that, keep in mind they did grab 6 scrubs. They can counter siege pretty brutally. All they need is a teamfight win. As you said, make sure Niles is not there, pick someone off, then maybe then Supernova can arrive to the dance. But as it is right now, the only unfortunate thing about grabbing that pick on Spyrax is there wasn't much to gain off the map. It's still a minute 30 before Baron's up, and 2 minutes 20 seconds before that Dragon Soul.
Yeah, again, that Soul is going to spell doom for Supernova in this first game. Because that extra damage, there's just going to be no way to overcome it on top of everything else. The only bright side is that, like you said, they do have that Grub-Ageddon. They do a lot of damage to these turrets with the bonus and the mites that they're going to be spawning. And there's a lot of standing gold on the map right now. They've only taken down 1 turret. There's so much available gold to them if they can actually get on top of them. That's the problem.
So much standing gold, so much just waiting to be cashed in. But Maryville, they've put up the Great Wall in the north. They're not letting the White Walkers through. So they will be able to hold their ground and stop these objective bounties from being secured by Supernova. And again, we still have a minute 30 before that Dragon Soul spawns.
Yeah, right. You can see it. A big presence from Supernova and Maryville, to be honest, in this mid lane. And keep an eye on Niles. He's level 16 now, has the 3rd level on that World Ender. Now he's trying to see if he can get anything from Yuji, but it's risky. He doesn't know where everyone else is.
And Yuji is one tanky boy. Here comes the sun.
Nice.
It lands on the Scary Cherry, but a quick cleanse and flash from Scary Cherry will make sure that he stays alive. The focus is Diamond. Depth Charge lands. Diamond's flash is out. Teleport being channeled. The rest of Supernova have arrived. Scary Cherry's low.
This is an interesting angle. Scary Jerry might have to recall. He's still going to be on time for this Drake, but he isn't necessarily going to be able to help push this mid lane out in time. Supernova could have that fast track. You can already see the teleport coming through. They might want to take advantage of the fact that there is no Varus.
Yeah, Diamond's going forward. Minion wave is there in favor of Maryville University, so not something that Supernova can capitalize on just yet. Still waiting in the brush is going to be Maryville. They've set down the trap. Are Supernova going to walk into it?
I mean, ideally not. Surely they have some blue wards to play with. In Maryville, they could let go of this Drake easily and pick up another Baron for themselves. It really it's not that important for them to secure this Dragon Soul at this stage of the game. It's just more important that Supernova doesn't let it happen for their own chances.
It's getting melted so fast, man. That Rel and Varus combo is all that you really need, and this is devastating right now because that means Supernova, they can't even dance around the dragon. They have to take it right now if they're going to stop the Dragon Soul from Maryville, but it doesn't even look like Maryville are bothered by that. They go straight for the top lane.
No, this is really good. I like this call. You can take that top tier 2. It's more gold on top of what you earn from taking the Baron, and you can see they're getting the fast track on this this tier 3 turret as well. The mid inhibitor is also going to be exposed if Supernova aren't careful. Yes, they got the dragon, but it's cost them a lot of gold in the process.
And another trap set. Diamond's going to walk right into it. Charm comes in, gets pulled back by the handshake. The chain of CC. It's a lot. Diamond just wants to move, man. He wants to use his feet, but Niles has chopped them right off.
Really nice trap set. It's going to guarantee that 1, if not 2 inhibitors are going to go down here at Maryville. Really trying to make up for that loss in the first round. The loss nobody expected from them against DSG by dismantling Supernova in this first game.
The Vil has come to play, and they've come to slay. As we have a 7K lead now for Maryville University. The map pretty much completely in their control. An inhibitor down over on that top side. The siege begins in the mid lane. Array and Shochi, they can't really do anything here. Shochi doesn't even have flash. It's going to be up to Kenvi to find the hero kick. Faisal to skirmish this outright. Kenvi's looking for Scary Jerry, though. Gets the kick on Scary Jerry. Lands on the Psycho on top of it. That's going to be a big stun. Psycho's going to go down. No, he gets the bailout in time. He's going to be okay, but Scary Jerry still falls. Now Faisal on the chase. Yuji has to flash out. Niles cleaves them. He, with the World Ender, will not be denied. He will chase down all of Supernova, and the captain of Maryville University leads Maryville to a Game 1 victory.
And it's just like that. Supernova had control, but they weren't able to hold on to it. Not once Niles picked up that triple kill, and he led Maryville to victory from that point on. And just like that, Supernova find themselves 1 game away from elimination in spring playoffs.
Maryville University taking down Nexus number 2. Again, it was a big deal that they fell down here in the lower bracket. They're looking for redemption, and what a tough opponent to do it against. They make it look easy in game number 1.
And wow, that's got to be a tough loss if you're Supernova. Again, both of these teams just didn't expect to be here. They didn't expect it. We didn't expect it. There was just no reason to believe before playoffs started that this is how it was going to shape up. So now it's Supernova who are 1 game away from what would be a very disappointing season, and we're going to take a look at this last fight again.
Yeah, keep an eye on Kenvi. It's a beautiful kick, man. They get Scary Jerry, but again, when you fight, when Niles is there, it's not a fight you're going to win.
No, and I will say, we got to give props to Supernova. I think they played this one out really nicely, got so much damage out onto members of Maryville. And the fact that Niles flashed in there, that was the big thing that turned it around. It almost looked like Supernova were going to win it out, but a huge multi-man knockup basically spelt the end of it.
And look at Niles' HP once again.
This Sundered Sky item, man, I don't like it.
Sundered Sky with World Ender, there's just so much healing, man. And Niles, I mean, that was an incredible display to see come out of him. We are going to throw it over to a short break. It is now match point for Maryville University. 1 more win, and they send Supernova home. We'll be right back.
They said it couldn't be done. They said the world would never accept a cookie this long. Or a churro, and probably not a pretzel either. They also said, under no circumstances should those really long and delicious treats be wildly affordable. To which we said, but we already made them. And they are. Introducing the incredible new foot-long sidekicks. Get one at Subway today.
Rain. Ground. Flame. Gas. Long ago, the 4 nations lived together in harmony. And then everything changed.
Oh boy, time! destruction. Here comes Zamudo, a claymore to the face of Cincinnati Fear.
Here comes Keel, looking to rip and bear them apart as he jumps in. The shuffle comes in from Spyrax, has to flash back over the wall. TLC are on retreat. Over comes Scary Jerry with the double kill, and Maryville University are back in it.
No contest from Lit. They might get Tenacity, but they might all just get wiped. Tenacity picks up another kill, flashes away from Rockboom.
Looking for more. He's got the death from below yet again, but he can't get it. Here it comes. One more. Give him another one. As it's coming through, he misses it, but it's Supernova running away. Flap, 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 and the wings start beating. The Elder Dragon starts soaring. That Team Liquid have done it.
Check it. He does have Shockwave. Breezy.
Oh, handshake comes down! Shock Wave! Toasty will take them down! Turns it on the Rose Sword, and all by himself, all by his lonesome, he gets it done!
Quacker gets onto the carry. Massive Shockwave from Dark Wings, and Aaron's gonna be the one picking up all the kills. A Quadra to Wildcard's bot laner, and what an explosive end to the game!
Only the Avatar, the master of the 4 elements, seemed unstoppable.
The death truck's gonna hit on
Quad.
a 2, and look at those fangs sinking deep. It's like a snake eating the entire team.
But I believe that NACL can save the world.
The future of the LCS starts right after the LCS.